A great looking phone with a lot of zip under the hood and a huge improvement to its rear camera. While OPPO's F series of smartphones may be known for being a selfie expert, this year's iteration brings a whole lot more to the table. Hey guys, what's happening? Jamie here for Unbox, and this is our full review of the OPPO F7. OPPO has definitely stepped up their design game with the F7, and we think that it's an absolute head-turner. While its crimson color, officially known as solar red, may have something to do with that, the silver-colored variant is equally stunning as well. From afar, it looks like it's sandwiched by glass panels, but the back of the phone is actually made of coated acrylic. We've managed to keep our review unit relatively scratch-free, but it's recommended to slap on that included jelly case just to make sure it stays that way, and is free from smears and smudges as well. In terms of build quality, the F7 is constructed very well with no gaps in between its seams, and while the back of the phone is flat, its rounded frame does a lot for its ergonomics. The OPPO F7 is the latest device to sport an even taller aspect ratio than last year's 18:9 standard. The 6.23-inch Full HD Plus LTPS IPS display has a resolution of 2280 by 1080 at an aspect ratio of 19:9, giving it an overall pixel density of 405 pixels per inch. It was a joy to watch content on the F7 with the panel having great color reproduction and very forgiving viewing angles. Yes, we know, there's a notch, and you'll either love it, learn to live with it, or you'll hate it with a burning passion. But honestly, we're starting to get used to it, and having an almost all-screen display lends a little more premium punch to the smartphone. We did run into a tiny, solvable issue though. While playing games, we noticed the content would extend to fill the entire screen, and the notch would cover up bits of the UI. Thankfully, you can tweak settings in the display options to make sure it behaves accordingly, which is something you have to be aware of if you do decide to pick up this phone. At the core of the F7 is one of MediaTek's newest chipsets, the Helio P60, and it's probably one of the best SoCs from the Taiwanese company. It launches apps really quickly and can blast through the typical slew of day-to-day tasks without batting an eyelash. The Helio P60 also comes equipped with the Mali G72 MP3 GPU that smashes through some of the more popular titles on the Google Play Store on the highest settings. If you're a fan of MOBAs, you'll be happy to hear that it runs Vainglory at an average of 58 FPS, while PUBG Mobile ran at an average of 26 FPS with great stability as well. OPPO has adopted more of an iOS feel in its recent iterations of its UI overlay, ColorOS. But the F7 ships with version 5.0, and we're glad to see that it behaves more like an Android device this time around. There are a ton of new features like the new Smart Assistant, but none of that seems to interfere with the phone's performance. We're also pleasantly surprised at how quick and accurate the fingerprint scanner and facial unlock are, with both having a good margin of error. The raise to wake function helps a lot when using facial recognition, but can often unlock your phone without meaning to. OPPO's F series of smartphones have always been known for taking great selfies, and while the same can be said about the F7, they've made a lot of improvements to the rear camera too. The 16-megapixel rear shooter produces great snaps with a decent amount of dynamic range, and since you've got an aperture of f1.8, shots in low-light situations come out with a good amount of detail and minimal noise. Despite not having a secondary camera to help with the bokeh effect, the F7 still has a portrait mode, and the results aren't perfect, but you're getting more hits than misses. The front camera is where the F series built its name, and the 25-megapixel camera on the OPPO F7 is backed by a Sony IMX576 sensor, plus the company's AI beautification tech that they first implemented on the F5. We have mixed feelings about the AI beautification, but we absolutely love the photos with this feature turned off. It'll of course boil down to preference, but at times we think it goes a little overboard. You also have software assisted bokeh with the front shooter, and our shots came out really nice with this feature, but again, it's not perfect, but you'll learn when and when not to use it to get the best selfies possible. The F7 is powered by a 3400 mAh battery, and it definitely has more than enough juice to last the day. It clocked in a respectable time of 9 hours and 26 minutes using PCMark's battery benchmarks, with real-world use giving us enough lasting power to run errands all day, with mobile data running for the greater part of it. Sadly, there's no sign of OPPO's VOOC charging on this device, so topping up the phone takes a little over 2 hours. It seems like we say it every single time a company releases a new iteration of a phone, but the OPPO F7 really is one of the best the brand has put out so far. The improvements from its predecessor are hard to deny, and that Helio P60 does put in a ton of work. While we usually say that those who love taking selfies should keep an eye out for this device, there's definitely more to the F7 than just its front camera. OPPO has a really strong contender this year in the F7, and if you find yourself locked to a budget just under 18,000 pesos, you should definitely put this device on your shortlist. And that pretty much does it for our full review of the OPPO F7. If you like this video, make sure you give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you hit that notification bell. Got questions? Leave them in the comment section and we'll try to get to them as soon as we can. For all the latest tech news and gadget reviews, head to unbox.ph and make sure you follow us on Facebook as well. This is Jamie, and I'll see you next time.